Okay, hey guys. I hope you guys can hear me. We don't have any viewers right now, so we'll see if we can wait for a couple viewers to pop up here before we start streaming this. So this is obviously a test stream, trying to figure out if we can make this work, if we wanted to go live on something, if something happens. Hey, so we got, it looks like one concurrent viewers. I don't know if that's me viewing it. Sorry guys, this is just a test right now. Hopefully you can hear me okay. So it looks like somebody left already. So that's not it. Okay, let's see what we get here. So right now I'm just kind of looking at Bitcoin, see where it's going on with it. Obviously it has dropped way below the our support here at 40,500 roughly on the green line. We kind of bounced off of it a little bit, 40,600, and we don't have any viewers right now. So, okay. Yeah, so this is just a test stream. Hey, looks like somebody just joined us, so we, or at least I'm, doing a test live stream right now, trying to get this all figured out for my next event. But just kind of looking at Bitcoin, see where it's going, and somebody left again. Okay. Well, this is going to be interesting. So obviously we're doing this kind of late here. Just kind of looking at Bitcoin right now, trying to get this test live stream up and running. I want to make sure that my audio is good. Let me know if you guys can let me know in the comments. How's the audio? Right now, it should be okay, I would think, but let me know what's going on, as I can't hear myself through the live stream. I just want to make sure you guys are getting good audio on that. But right now, yeah, I'm just looking at Bitcoin to see what's going on with it. Obviously, it has fallen below the support line of 40,600 roughly, and just want to kind of take a look what's going on with the market in general. Just kind of test things out. If I ever want to do a live stream in the future, this is something that obviously that I want to learn to do more of, and I figured do it now when it's late, when there aren't a lot of you guys on here. Most of you guys are probably sleeping, got work tomorrow. I got work tomorrow as well. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of test this out. I mean, everything is just red right now. If we look at the charts here, it is just a bloodbath right now. BTC is down 7.25%, Ethereum down 8.46%, BNB down 10%. I wonder if it's just right now. It's basically, I think maybe Asia is getting affected by the news of Russia basically thinking about banning Bitcoin mining and cryptocurrency trading, and everything is just obviously taking a dive right now. Doge is down 7.97%. AvaX is down 9.8%. Matic is down 7.73%. SHIB is down 6.94%. It's not looking good. Litecoin's down. Everything is just red. Dash, Luna is down. DOT is down. Oh boy, it's not looking good right now. So looks like we got one viewer right now on here. If you can hear me okay, let me know in the comments. Just if you could just write okay, I can hear you great or something like that. Would help me out tremendously. I'd appreciate it. But like I've said in the videos before, Bitcoin, the more times it tries this line here, it's going to fall below. And I actually did it. I did it in magical form today. It's been a wild swing in the last 24 hours. I mean, we went up all the way to 43,500 roughly, and then came down all the way to 38,323. So that's almost like a 5,300 swing in one day. So that's rough. Let me see what else I want to take a look at here. Might as well take a look at Ethereum. Obviously, Rivian's way down. A lot of the other guys are down as well. Ethereum is down below 3,000. I was hoping it was going to maintain support around the 3,000, but it just fell below it, like everything else. On the RSI, it's still looking like it might go a little bit further, just like Bitcoin has gone down below the 30 on the RSI. So, I don't know. We may come down to 37.5, 37,000, maybe bounce from there, possibly. Obviously, we touched the 20-day moving average here and fell below it. So it's not looking good. Don't know what else to talk about here. This is obviously, guys, so any of you joining right now, this is obviously just a test to see how I can do live streams going forward. If something happens, something that's newsworthy or just something that's interesting, or just to communicate with you guys on here, let me know what you think of this. if you have any questions, tell me write down your questions in the comments. I'm viewing it here right now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's going on here. Obviously, ADA is down as well. It's not looking good. Obviously, it bounced off of our support here at 150 or 115 in the past couple of days. Went above it and it's fallen back down. It tested the 200-day moving average and basically cratered from that. Hedera hash graph, same thing. Has been battling with the 20-day moving average here, and it's down below it now. Doge, obviously we got a good pump from Elon Musk on Doge a week ago, with them being accepted as payment in their Tesla accessories. And then Litecoin has obviously cratered as well. Everything's just looking bad right now. Even Shiba's going down to 25.70 right now. What else we got here? We got Sia Coin, Solana. Solana is down to 125. Obviously, this could be like a buying opportunity for a lot of you guys. If you guys are in it for the long run, buy the dips. I keep saying, if you watch my videos, you probably heard me say before, be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. So this might be one of those opportunities where it's good to kind of buy in, dollar cost average in. So Cankos 24 said this is great. What's the floor for CleanSpark? CleanSpark, I thought the floor was going to be right around $7. I thought that's where we're going to end up at possibly. But right now, if we look at it, it's down to 693. And with Bitcoin going down the way it's going, I could see it coming down to maybe below even $6 in the next couple of days, depending where Bitcoin ends up at. But it's just rough out there right now. Obviously, we got the FUD going on with Russia right now, so we'll see how this all plays out. But yeah, I bought into CleanSpark right around $8 or $9. I would have to look back. Bought some shares of that. I bought 50 shares of CleanSpark, so I'm probably going to dollar cost average in a little bit more. Probably put another $500 down into it. See where it goes from there. Cankles, let me see here. I just fear that the Russian invasion of Ukraine could really be the straw that breaks the camel's back on these markets. Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. I'm originally from, I was born in Poland, and I came here when I was 8 years old. My father left Poland during the communism that was going on there, and then they had the Cold War. Obviously, so he left for Austria, and then from Austria he got basically political asylum from the U.S., and I moved here when I was 8 years old. So obviously Ukraine is really close to Poland as well, so that is obviously something that's on our minds as well. We have family back there. So I'm hoping it doesn't get to that. I don't know what Russia has to gain from invading Ukraine. I think it might be just some rattle sabering by Putin. But who knows? I mean, the guy's been in there for so long as a president. He probably thinks he's a king now. So I just don't know what's going to go happen there. Hopefully that doesn't happen. If it does happen, obviously things are going to be a lot different. There's going to be obviously a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the market. The market's probably going to end up crashing along with Bitcoin and everything else. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. Any other questions you guys have? Because right now, with the way Bitcoin's going, it's going to be a rough day tomorrow for the miners. Obviously, if you're in it for a long run, like I've said before, this could be a good buying opportunity. Buy it on the cheap, and hopefully Bitcoin rebounds by the end of the year. We've seen some analysts saying it's going to go back up to 100,000 by the end of the year, so we'll see. Yeah, and Cankos, I would agree the equity markets need a capitulation in BTC. Yeah, I don't know if we've reached that yet in the markets here. I mean, we've had the fear and greed index come down a couple times, obviously pretty low. And let me see here if we can find it. Bitcoin fear and greed index. What's it at right now? So right now we're at 19. I mean, we've been as low as I think it's 16. So we've been jumping around in this range for a while. We can see it on the chart here on Bitcoin that we've come down, we've gone back up, and it's just messing with us right now. But we've basically I got kind of fooled here a little bit a couple weeks back. I thought that we were going to go back up after we had the cross of the 20-day and the 200-day moving averages. I thought we were going to possibly continue going back up, but obviously we got fooled out and came back down. So almost looks like a little head and shoulders here if you look at it. And then we've obviously come back down. Cancels, let's see here. Okay, so the highs might not be reached as they have been in the past. Yeah, I mean, that is true. But usually when Bitcoin starts going back up, what we see is with the miners, we can take a look at some of the miners here. Let's take a look at, let's just take, I don't know, let's take Mara for instance. I mean, when Bitcoin was going up earlier this year, I mean, you can see what an increase that had on the price of Mara. I mean, Mara was at 30 and it ended up going up 173% when Bitcoin went up, what was that, 100% or something like that, from the low of 28 to 69,000 or something like that. So these guys always seem, to me at least, it seems like they go 1.5x to 2x of what Bitcoin does. So if Bitcoin goes up, 100%, we could see these guys going up 150, 200%. And it's the same thing on the way down, though. So it's an interesting kind of market with the Bitcoin miners. The one thing that's kind of interesting is that I'm seeing at least a little bit happening right now is with, Hive. So Hive is diversifying into NFTs. They're diversifying into these other investments that they're doing. And we're seeing the same thing. Argo yesterday provided the same information that they're basically going into DeFi, NFTs, some of the other staking and things like that. So they're taking 10% of their HODL and diversifying. So I wonder if there's, and let me know if you guys agree or don't agree, but it's almost like they can't get enough power, and so they're looking for other ways to generate income or to diversify. It seems like it's getting hard to get power. I don't know if that's the case or not. I haven't heard anything on that specific, but it just seems like some of the smaller miners are kind of diversifying in that way. I don't know if that's trend going forward or what's going to happen with that. So I just don't know. You guys can let me know what you guys think, obviously, on that. But yeah, right now it's a downer. I mean, it's great when Bitcoin's going up, obviously. And when Bitcoin's falling, it's obviously a downer for everybody. We can take a look at Bitcoin, see what it did. From pretty much the same period here, we went from, where was it? Yeah, 28,000 here to, yeah, we went up 128%, and we saw Mara go up 178%, something like that. So yeah, we'll have to see how this all plays out. But it's definitely something that's, we got to keep an eye on it. I'm not too worried about it personally. I'm in it for the long run, so I'm not looking to get rich tomorrow. The market could tank a little bit more. It could go down to 20,000 or something like that. That'd still be okay. I think that for me, this is at least probably like a 5-10 year play with the crypto and everything else. I want to see Bitcoin get to 1 million. That's my ultimate goal. Maybe by that time I'll be 55 and I'll be able to retire, with a sizable nest egg, hopefully. So this isn't something that I day trade. I've had friends that day traded Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they got wrecked on it because Bitcoin went up to 12,000. They thought it's going to come back down, so they sold, and Bitcoin ended up going to 27,000. So they had 2 Bitcoins now. They have a quarter Bitcoin left. So I don't day trade. I've learned earlier on not to do that. That it's better just to invest for the long run, at least, in my opinion. I don't have the time to do it either to day trade. I work a full-time job, family, kids, and everything else. So it's just better to invest in ones that you have a high conviction in. Yeah, bloody tomorrow, probably. Yeah, it's gonna be bloody for the miners. Thoughts on BTC moving in direct correlation with Nasdaq? Yeah, I mean, geez, it's it's basically a tech play on it if we think about it. And the other part of that's kind of interesting is we're seeing a lot of stories on Bitcoin no longer being driven by retail, it's being driven by institutional investors, which in a sense kind of makes sense in a way. we're seeing that retail is usually driven by these investors that want to have huge gains, where with Bitcoin, you're not going to have these huge gains anymore, I don't think. I mean, you could still have 2x, 3x, 4x, but you're not going to have that 100x anymore. So that's why I think it's more correlated possibly with Nasdaq and the markets in general. With the markets coming down, Bitcoin's coming down. You obviously have the futures, which the big boys are playing in that as well. So that's all correlated in a sense. They're taking risk off and going to safe havens right now. And Bitcoin is just one of those things that's kind of risky for them. So we'll see how that all plays out. I just don't know. I'm not a financial analyst or anything like that, so I have no idea. I'm just trying to make sense out of the market as best I can based on the news that I have. So we'll have to see. Let me see what else we got going on. If we got any news or anything like that we can kind of check. Let's see here. Bitcoin news. Oh yeah, I don't know if you guys saw this. Eric Adams is taking his first paycheck in crypto. Part of it was Bitcoin and Ethereum, I believe. Yeah, first paycheck. So that's kind of cool. So I mean, we're seeing all this adoption happening in Bitcoin, and we're kind of in a crummy part of the economy right now, where everything's just kind of down and in the dumps, which is unfortunate. But I think we have to go through these kind of lows in the market in order to get to the other side, to be on the higher end of it. So let's see here. Central Bank of Russia proposes wide-ranging ban. So we've talked about this today a little bit. So I mean, not much news is going on here. The only thing I can think of right now is possibly that Asia is selling off on the news. Who else would be up right now? I think pretty soon Europe is going to be getting up as well. So we'll have to see how this all plays out tomorrow. I mean, right now we're still hovering at 38,814. I think our next support line is the 37,500 mark. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so Gankel's, you're in CS CleanSpark at 17, looking to half my cost basis. Okay, yeah, so you're like me. I'm not that high. My dad bought in at 18 for CleanSpark. We thought we would see possibly, obviously Bitcoin going down in December. That was kind of almost a given that we have the tax harvesting or tax loss harvesting going on in December. So we thought Bitcoin was going to go down a little bit, but we didn't think it was going to go down this much. And January has also proven to be a pretty bad month for the most part when it comes to Bitcoin. I think if you look back 9-10 years, something like that, I think out of the 10 years, 6 years has been bad for Bitcoin in January. So we got a couple more days in January, 10 more days, and hopefully we'll be out of it and we'll be able to go back up. So something to look forward to possibly, but we just don't know. Any other questions you guys might have? Otherwise, I might call it a night. Obviously, this is kind of cool that I can do live streams with you guys. One of the things I was thinking about doing, so here's something I was thinking about doing. So with me, I posted a poll on YouTube for you guys to answer as far as which Bitcoin mining company I should look into next. I had not CleanSpark on there. Core Scientific, and a couple other ones on there as well. I think Core Scientific is running right now. But one of the things I was going to ask you guys as well was, how interested would you be in joining me in a live stream where I'm going through all the details on the miners for a specific company and then doing the analysis basically right in front of you guys as I'm gathering all the data on them. I don't know how fun that's going to be. It usually takes me, on the minimum, it takes me at least 3 hours if there isn't a lot of information I have to gather, but on the high end it can take me as long as 6-7 hours sometimes. So I don't know how well that's going to work out. Me trying to stream, talk to you guys, and pull data on it either. So that was one thought on it. Let's see here, Cankles, yeah, 35.52. Gets tomorrow, knowledge born. Good question, Knowledge Born. So how is BTC a hedge against inflation if it moves with the Nasdaq? Yeah, we have to. That's a good question. I mean, obviously, Nasdaq itself is a hedge against inflation as well, and so is the S&P 500, right? Hopefully, historically, both of those have done better than inflation. So that's kind of where that would tie into it. Limited supply, obviously, for Bitcoin, 21 million. We're at 18 million something already. So we are seeing also more adoption of it, more usage of it. So I think it's over time it's going to go up in price and value. When it's going to reach $1 million, it could be 10 years, it could be 15 years, it could be 20 years. Just don't know. But we'll have to see. Let me see what else. Yeah, institutional money is double-edged sword. So Kenkos, you're saying absolutely that would be awesome. So I'm guessing that you would be interested in watching a live stream where I go through the miners and try and figure things out for them. Yeah. I may try that one of these days. I'll probably do that. If I do that, I'll do that at night when the kids are asleep and the wife's asleep and I got a little time. Maybe do a live session for like an hour or something like that and see what we can find on Core Scientific or whoever the winner is in the poll. So we'll see on that. But yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Your page is great. Kenkos, what do you mean by my page is great? The YouTube page or Twitter page, or trying to understand here what you're referencing here. Okay, so cool. Kenkos, so thanks. I appreciate that. And I don't know how many of you guys know, but I manage a small mining farm. I do it for a friend of mine. He invested in it back in 2017. I was lucky enough to know him, obviously, and to have enough experience in computers and things like that. So I actually manage a small mining farm. If you guys want to know any information on that, let me know. I could probably do a video on that, but it's a small one. It's like, in total, we have 250 miners right now. Most of those are the S9 miners and the L3 Plus miners for Litecoin, and then we have some GPU miners as well. But we did have a lot of Dash miners. We learned our lesson on that one. He bought like 250 of those. Spent a lot of money on that. Those are now oversized paperweights, basically. They're pieces of crap. See what you guys have to say here. All right, appreciate that, Kenkos. Hopefully you guys get some useful information from this. I try to be realistic on the expectations of Bitcoin and everything else. I try to provide the news as it is. I don't try to sugarcoat it or hype it. I tell you when I buy things and when I don't buy things. So, and that's kind of where this is all came from with, as far as talking about the miners, just because my experience with the mining, managing the mining farm, building it out and everything else, setting it up. I got definitely hooked into it. I got the mining bug, and then, obviously the miners that came online in on Nasdaq and on the OTC markets, started trying to figure out what they're actually earning, things like that. Started doing some due diligence. I started out with Hive. My dad and I invested in Hive back in 2018 or something like that. I was lucky enough to get into it when it was like 8 cents at the very bottom. I got like, 13,600 shares, something like that right now. And I'm just holding on to that. I'm not selling it. I think it's going to go up higher. Obviously, if Bitcoin goes up and Ethereum goes up, it's going to go up much higher. So the same thing I'm doing with CleanSpark, Bitfarms, bought those recently. Just trying to learn from my own mistakes that I did, that we did in the mining farm, and looking to see what the miners could do differently or better. So that's kind of my perspective on all those things. That's why sometimes I'm pretty critical on some of the miners like CleanSpark for putting out a commercial on CNBC, where that money could be spent, in my opinion, at least in better ways than that. I think as an investor, I would much rather have them have great results on a quarter than a commercial out there. That's how they would, I think, lure investors even more, by providing great quarters and not spending a lot on employee wages, doing the stock options and things like that. I think that kind of turns investors off. So that's kind of where my head's at. Let's see what we got here. Kenkos, one quick question. Yeah, I don't shill. I don't want to shill ever. I tell you why I'm investing in something. If I do invest in something, I got a lot of flack for letting you guys know I invested in Rivian. I think Rivian is a long-term play, 5, 10, 15 years out. Okay, so my thoughts on mining regulations. Hearings on Capitol Hill, you may have spoken on it, but I missed it. Yeah, I didn't cover it too much, and the mining regulations. I think they're just trying to get insight as far as what's going on. I read a little bit about it today. They have a couple, from what I read, they had 2 good, what do they call them? Not speakers, but people that were testifying. 2 of them had pretty good knowledge on the electricity. One thing, obviously, every year that you look at Bitcoin mining, we've had new miners come out. They've gotten better at hash rate. Their power consumption has always gone down, and it's only going to get better. We also got the news from Intel that they're going to be putting out a ASIC mining miner, basically, and it's supposed to be, we don't know the hash rate yet, so that's the only question that I have right now is what's the hash rate, but they're saying it's going to be less consumption of power per hash, I'm guessing. So I want to see that. So right now, the most efficient miner that we have out there is the Antminer S19XP, the 140 terahash miner. That one I think is 21.5 joules per terahash or something like that. So that's really efficient. The miners that we are mining with, they're the 13,900, was a gigahash, 13, so that would be 13 terahash miners, 13.9 terahash miners, and those things. 1,300 watts on those things, and you got the new miners are 140 terahash, and they're 3,000 like 30 watts. So huge increase in hash rate, and obviously the efficiency and the power consumption has gone way down as well, and that's only going to get better going forward. And then if you also get into where they're doing immersion cooling, oh, that's just awesome. You're even saving more on electricity, you're saving the miners, you're able to overclock them more. So it's getting more efficient as time goes on. So I think the whole electricity usage is a moot point. If you get a chance, watch the Mining Council. They had a great presentation just this week on the overall electrical usage of the United States and how even with all the miners coming on board, we're only increasing our energy usage by 1% a year on average. We used to have a lot of industry that was using a lot of electricity as well. The steel mills, the aluminum smelters, all that, they all used a lot of electricity, and that's gone away for the most, well, not for the most part, but in general, a lot of it has gone away, and that electricity just hasn't been replaced. So the miners actually play a pretty good role there where they can stabilize and even provide money to renewable energies to build out windmills, solar farms, and things like that. So I'm all for it. I think that's great. And like I keep saying, the electricity usage is only going to keep going down. Knowledge-born. So Kenko, you work as a financial advisor, full disclosure. Okay. Let me see, how do I... Okay, so Kenko's, you're also in Rivian, and then hard to find any assets these days that isn't bleeding knowledge, energy, basically. Yeah, I mean, it's getting to that point. I mean, if you look at Google, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, I mean, how much are they basically using electricity for YouTube, for Netflix, for Amazon Prime? How much are the banks using for tellers, for running their banks, basically the AC, the heat, the computers, the lights, everything in there? I mean, I think that Bitcoin plays still a very, very small role in that, a fraction of what the actual banking industry itself is playing. You got cars delivering cash, you got, you know, trucks delivering gold, whatever it is, back and forth, cash and everything else. So there's still a lot more power, I think, wasted in the financial system than there is with how much was being used for mine Bitcoin. That's just my 2 cents. Yeah, so knowledge-born, do you know anything about geothermal energy and can it be applied to mining? Yeah, I mean, obviously, like Kenko's replied, El Salvador is doing it already. Anywhere where you have renewable energy, you're going to have miners going towards that. And then a lot of the energy is also wasted that's not being used, because it takes a while for some of these, like if you think about the ones that have the rivers, hydroelectricity, those things are always cranking, and then you either have to shut some off because you don't have enough electricity demand for it. And with the miners, you can have that demand and that money being made to that company the whole time the generators are running. So I think it's a plus benefit to the electrical grid and to society in general, as long as it's being clean. As you know, if they're using coal to mine Bitcoin, I'm not for that. I want my kids to have a nice place to live after I'm gone, and my grandkids. Ryan Harley, love your channel. Thank you so much. If the merger of any Graphon goes through, where would you rank them compared to other miners? That I don't know. I'd have to obviously see what they're actually mining, what mining equipment they have, how much they're mining, how much they're growing. Based on that, I could possibly put them in between some of those. But I just don't know how much they have right now. I haven't done my due diligence on them. So it all depends. Who was that? Was it Core Scientific that was going to be 15 exahash, and then Mara came out that they're going to be at 23.3 exahash this year. So it's an arms race between everybody. And then, like I said earlier in this conversation here, that some of the miners like Argo and Hive are starting to diversify. They're getting into NFTs, DeFi, staking. I believe Hut 8 is also doing staking. And then Hut 8 just bought out somebody this week, another data center, I believe. They paid like, what is it, 53 million or something like that, somewhere around there. So everybody's trying to diversify in the space, it looks like. Let's see. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, I think we'll call it a day. We'll take a look at, Bitcoin's still at 38.9, so it's kind of starting to pull back a little bit on the low here. Hopefully we maybe reached our bottom here for it, but I still think since we breached the 40,000 mark, I think we're going down to maybe 37.5 before everything is said and done. Whether that's this week, probably not this week. Well, it could happen tomorrow. Who knows? But I'm guessing probably within the next couple of weeks we could touch that before we start bouncing back in maybe February or something like that. Do I have a Discord? No, I do not have Discord. Do a lot of you guys use Discord? I've been on Discord before, but there was just a lot of junk on there. Let me see. Kim Andrew, please Bitcoin. Yeah, I think we're all praying. Where can we post questions or something? Obviously in the comments, post questions. Whenever I do a video, you can post comments there. You can find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle should be in the descriptions of all the videos that I do. I also have a Patreon page if you guys want to support me there. I provide all of my mining spreadsheets in there. How's the audio quality, guys? Because usually when I do the videos, I record them kind of like I'm doing now in live, and then I'll go into post really quick and bump up the volume on it. So I just want to know if the volume is good or not. Kim Andrew, thank you very much. Appreciate it, man. Sound quality is perfect. Great. Okay, good. And usually I have the furnace turned off when I'm recording, so you guys don't get a lot of background noise. I know this mic is pretty sensitive. Invest Answers, what about him? Did you agree with James on which video? Yeah, and I agree with you, Rubberman. Discord can be good if can't talk. It's getting late. If the group is good, I would agree. All right, thanks, Rubberman. Audio is good. What was the topic from Invest Answers? Was that the one on the miners that he did? Oh, ranking the miners. Yeah, but he had different methodology for ranking the miners. He had a couple of different ways of ranking him. I didn't get to watch all of it, but I watched part of it. I agree with him for the most part. I think right now, the way I'm looking at it, I think most of the investors, or at least the way I'm thinking of it, they're looking for growth. And I think Mara is eventually going to be the top dog. It already is the top dog, but I think eventually it's going to be the top dog based on their hash rate if they can get everything installed when they're saying they're going to get installed. They're going to get a lot of investor attention based on the future hash rate. They also hodl quite a bit. Obviously, they bought most of it this year. I think they bought, what was it, 4,000 BTC at the beginning of last year of 2021. Next one up is probably going to be Core Scientific. I think they're going to be at 15 something, and then Riot. Riot is pretty interesting as well. Riot has the immersion cooling, which is really interesting to me. I want to see what they can get on the increase on the hash rate. Can they go 20-30% increase by doing the immersion cooling? I think that would be outstanding for them. I don't know what the infrastructure to do that would cost. I can't imagine it's not expensive. I'm guessing it's going to be pretty expensive to do that. You obviously need all those baths or those tubs for the miners. You need the pump, the plumbing, the piping, all the pumps, the heat exchangers, everything else. That's all expensive, and you're looking at basically plumbing guys doing it, and they're not cheap either. So it's going to be a lot of expenditure on that part. But yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. And then I'm still bullish on Bitfarms, Hive, Hut, 8. I think those guys are still doing pretty well. I'm going to do a miner versus miner video here coming up. I was going to do it today, but I ran out of time, and I wanted to test the live stream. But probably tomorrow I'll do a video on miner versus miner, see where everybody stacks up. The smaller guys like Digi and DMG, their hash rate is almost at 100%. So that's kind of unfortunate. I would like to see them grow a little bit more. But the guys that are still growing, I think they're going to do fine. And we did a video, or I did a video on it, where the miners could be if Bitcoin reaches 85,000 at the end of the year, which was kind of a ballpark figure with the hash rate increasing 150 or 50% this year. And if everything gets installed, when they're saying things get installed, all the miners will do really well. They should all increase, 2-3x from where they are. Some are going to obviously increase more based on the hash rate that they're going to have because they're going to be mining more. So it's an interesting time, obviously, in the miners space right now. Najborn, I second Kim Andrew. You do a lot of heavy lifting for us mining investors. Thank you. I appreciate that. This stuff is interesting for me too, so I enjoy it. Digging, sometimes the information isn't always there where you'd want it to be, like how many miners they have. Who was it? Hive was actually really good at providing what miners got installed. This was in the first quarter, second quarter of last year. They provided a lot of good information as far as the miners that were getting installed, which miners were basically getting removed. That was excellent. I love that. That makes it so much easier for me to go and put in the data in. We can figure this stuff out. But when they're very coy about it, we're getting 30,000 miners. They're going to be mining 1 exahash or something like that. And you're trying to figure out, well, yeah, but you're getting 5 different varieties of miners. Which one's mining what and how much are you getting of each miner? So sometimes it makes it a little tough. I try to stay on my estimates to be within 5%. So when I do the revenues on them, I try to be within 5%, either up or down, what they could possibly make for the quarter. I think with the new data that I'm doing by month, I'm hoping it's going to be even more accurate. We'll see how that plays out. That, we'll basically see everything per month, which I think is going to be a lot more accurate. That's just my thought, but we'll see. But it also takes a lot more time to obviously put everything into the data. It took me a long time to convert from quarterly to monthly, but I enjoy it. So I'm a data geek, so I enjoy it. That's what other questions we have here. I'm sure people enjoy it. Thanks, Kinkles. Yeah, I might do that. I think it goes automatically to YouTube, so we'll see. And I'll leave it on there, see how it does. Kinkles, you're very welcome. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you learned something from it. I learned from it. I don't know everything as well, so I learned from you guys as well. You guys in the comments provide great comments, information that I sometimes don't know myself, and it's a kind of mutual respect going back and forth on the information sharing and everything else like that. So I learn from you guys as much as hopefully you guys learn from me. But yeah, I don't know everything. A lot of stuff that I do learn, I read. When I don't know, I try to investigate, research, find out, and hopefully get you guys good answers on that. The biggest thing for me is obviously electricity. I'm not an electrical engineer or anything like that. And then when it comes to pricing electricity, as far as what they're paying for the miners what they're paying for electricity. Dealing with our own little mining farm that we have that I manage, I've been in it for 4 years. I still don't freaking understand it, how they price out electricity. So we actually use a consultant for our electrical pricing. We're actually reviewing our new 3-year contract right now. It's going up. The best we could do was to get 6.5 cents, basically all in. And we're a small miner, obviously. So hopefully the big guys are getting 3.5, maybe 3 cents, 4 cents per kilowatt hour. But the best we could get is 6.5. I think right now we're going to be closer to 7.5, which sucks. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, definitely appreciate you guys watching. What do I think about Canon? Canon, I don't know enough about them. I know about their miners a little bit. They've always been a little bit behind Bitmain on speed and efficiency. And then with Intel getting into it, I just don't know. I don't know enough about them to really say one way or another. But if I was to bet on the two players in it, I think Bitmain's the biggest one. Obviously, we have Bitmain miners. The D3 that were for the Dash were pieces of crap. They were breaking down like crazy. But the S9s that we've had for 4 years now, we bought 220 of those, and only right now we have only about 10 of them that are kind of malfunctioning on us. So that's pretty good, considering that we're using basically just air cooling on them. So there's dust on them that's gotten on them. We try to keep them clean. But Bitmain, to me, with the S9s, I don't know about the other miners, but I'm thinking the other miners, the other S19s and things like that, have probably done fairly well. I don't have enough experience with Canon, never used their miners, so I really don't know on them. And let me see here. Have you noted GBTC discount to NAV is 28 thoughts? So GBTC, that's the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, I mean, sometimes it happens where there's a discount and sometimes you pay premium on it. When Bitcoin's going down, a lot of times you'll get a nice discount on it. So that's one way to do it. What's another one? For the mining stocks, the one that I recently saw was Rigs. Rigs is kind of cool. Was it the ETF on Rigs? So that has Mara and all the other miners in there. It's also got, I think, NVIDIA and things like that. So that's kind of cool play. That's also, I think, right now you're getting a discount on that one as well. So something to think about as well. And then we got Satoshi Nakamoto in here as well. Can I roll you something? Sure. Let me see, what else do we have here? The one that I'm really interested in, and Knowledge Born, I don't know how much you know about it, is obviously Intel is going into the Bitcoin mining space with their ASICs. We had, obviously, Grid purchase a lot from them. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what they have. I used to build my own CPUs, not CPUs, but computers. So, and I always used to use Intel chips. So I'm kind of rooting for them. They've kind of gone down a little bit in the past to NVIDIA and some of the other guys. So it would be nice to have them have a maybe second life in the crypto space. So that's just my thoughts. Let's see, what else do we have here? Bitcoin's still holding strong at 38.9. Ethereum is down 28.62. So it's not too bad. So far we had about a 5% pullback on the 24-hour clock today. We obviously had Bitcoin come and touch the 20-day moving average, which I said unfortunately that it would yesterday. And then it might come down if it doesn't break above it, and it didn't. Which is kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Unfortunate. Would have much rather I liked it to go back up higher, but it is what it is. Let me see if we've got anything else. Yeah, and the financial market's in a dumpster right now because the fear of obviously the rate hikes coming up. I can't speak. When I bought my first house, it was a townhouse. This was back in, gosh, 2002 or somewhere around there. Yeah, I think my interest rate on the house back then was around 7%. I had fairly good credit, had a credit score above 720, but still, that's what the interest rates were back then. They were, 6.5%, 7%. A couple years later, they fell down a little bit. I was able to get it like 5.5 or something like that. And then obviously we had the crash in 2008 of the housing market. Things tanked and everything else. I sold basically at the peak, made some money on that townhouse, bought another townhouse, way over value, I guess. And then it took me, another 7-8 years to sell that before I got the house that I'm in right now. And I still had to pay into the loan because I was so far upside down on the house. So, I'm going off board here, but my general point is that interest rates are still extremely low. My dad, when he bought his first house, was paying around 11% interest rate on his house. This was back in the late 80s, early 90s. So if you think about it, where we've come from the high interest rates that we've had to the very low interest rates that we have, and probably are still going to have, even if we have 2 to 3 rate hikes, this is nothing. I think we've been spoiled, or at least the Wall Street has been spoiled by these low rates and just driving the economy, up and up and up. I think we need a little break here. I think inflation is real. Obviously, we'll have to see how it plays out this year. But overall, I think inflation is going to come back down a little bit this year. I don't know how much it's going to come back down. We've obviously saw 7% for, December numbers. A lot of that, I think, is already priced in. We obviously saw wage hikes going up as well. I've talked to a lot of people that said they had to give out, 20% of wage hikes, or employers were going to be walking elsewhere. So that's obviously contributed to it. We've had the shortages in chips, driving demand for used cars and everything else. Supply chain issues, which is driving demand. Worker shortages, which is driving, obviously, prices as well. Transport. Just to give you guys an idea, transport used to cost from China like $3,000. It's now $30,000. I mean, it's insane. Transport from Texas used to cost $1,500 up to Chicagoland area. Now it's like almost $8,000-9,000 trying to get something delivered. It's just gone crazy. And those are some obviously higher end pricing, but it's in the ballpark, and everything's going up. So it is kind of upsetting a little bit, and then obviously the government printing money like crazy doesn't help either. So I mean, we'll have to see how this all plays out. Let's see, what else do we have here? Knowledge born. I've heard about it. It's like a gold rush. I'm guessing you're talking about Bitcoin in general. Yeah, it is kind of like a gold rush, but I've said this before. It's kind of the retail investors getting out of Bitcoin, and they're going to continue getting out of Bitcoin because they see greener pastures and other coins that could go up 100x, 1,000x, where Bitcoin's going to go up 4 or 5x on them within a year or something like that. Or, I mean, even if Bitcoin goes to 1 million right now, we're looking at possibly going only 20x from where we are right now. So when you look at the grand scheme of things, it's a lot of money, but it's not a huge return. Well, it's still huge, but it's, when you look at a 20x compared to 1,000x, most retail investors are going to put down their $100 and buy 50 billion of SHIB and hoping it goes up, 20,000x or whatever. So that's kind of where that's kind of led to where the institutional investors now have unfortunately controlled Bitcoin a little bit. It's unfortunate, but that's where it's at. Knowledge born Intel. I talked about Intel a little bit earlier on. I'm looking forward to it. Trying to see what's going to happen with Intel and AC miners. I want to get some data. Hopefully we'll get some data from them. Obviously they got the conference that they're attending in February. So hopefully we'll get some data from them on that. They're supposed to have a demonstration as well. So that'll be interesting. I'll be definitely tuning into that one. Just want to see if they can improve efficiency by, not efficiency, but if they can at least mine 100 terahash at 1500 watts or something like that. That's a huge improvement from where it is right now, or even less than that. That'd be great. So we'll have to see how the chips work and everything else. So I'm bullish on Intel. That's kind of cool. Born, yep. I was responding to you asking me if I heard about Intel going to mining. Okay. Yeah, but obviously we'll have to see, guys. All right, I think it's already, geez, what time is it now? Midnight. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me on this test live stream. It was fun. Loved having you guys ask all the questions and stuff like that. It was definitely interesting. So I do enjoy that. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. But yeah, I got work tomorrow. I don't know what you guys got planned, but I got work. I got to get up at 7 and be in work at 8. So it's getting late. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This was fun. Maybe we'll make this like a weekly event where we'll do a live stream on Fridays or something like that. Have a drink in hand and just converse. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then.